Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and Dark Defender has shown his head. Dark Defender, I haven't heard much out of in a while, but I like this tweet right here. He says, "It is time for XRP." And then he did this. we haven't discussed for a long time XRP potential price actions and focused on the worst case scenarios. Let's combine now for worst case with one of the best case scenarios. Imagine the overlapping success of the lawsuit, Flare Network, and exchange listings. And then he did a write-up on this, and I haven't looked closely at it, and I love the title of it, 22 cents to $1,000. Now that's pretty specific. Now, after looking at his stuff and thinking about some other things, I tweeted this out. Let me see if I can think of some of the things going on. I said, just think of all the things happening at once right now. You got the Ethereum 2.0 coming out. You have Flare coming out. You have Ripple's lawsuit winding down. You have, and I know I'm going to forget a bunch, you have regulations that are coming. You got Jed McCaleb's wallet running out. It's almost like a lot of this stuff was planned. I think somebody said this in here. It's like it was planned in advance or something. And it sure is, folks. It sure feels like all this was planned, which would put it in the All the World's a Stage file. Now, something else that's interesting that's going on, and Dark Defender touched on this. Quant is, I told you the other day that I've been buying Quant. Quant is following our 5 wave structure to exactly 2 months since our first analysis. Target $160, $2,623. And I was looking at Quant, and I bought a little bit of it like in the last month or so. And this thing has gone crazy. If you look at this, 24-hour 20%, week 68, month 131, on the year it's 52% in the middle of this market, this down market. It's pretty big deal, folks. Now, John Deaton has commented on something. This was XRP Crypto Wolf's tweet. Fox Business covers the XRP lawsuit consistently and professionally. It really makes you wonder why CNBC isn't covering it, considering that they're also big on crypto when the Ripple case affects the entire industry. Well, it's not just them. It's also Julia Chatterley at CNN. Julia Chatterley, the second this lawsuit came up, and the second the SEC sued Ripple, and everybody started pointing at Ethereum and saying, what's going on here? Julia Chatterley, she shut up quick and didn't say a word. We haven't heard a word out of her since. And it's unfortunate because I thought that she was one of the good guys in media. Apparently not. So John Deaton says, one day I hope to ask the smart and talented crew of Squawk Box, Becky Quick, Andrew Ross Sorkin, Joe Squawk, Joe Kernan, Melissa Lee, Bob Pisani, why they chose to ignore the most significant non-fraud SEC enforcement action in modern history. I'm sincerely curious about the answer. Folks, when I was growing up, when I was a young man, actually after I had got, during the time when I had gone to work for Morgan Stanley and had passed the Series 7 and became a financial advisor. I'm not a financial advisor now, but I was. During that time, I was at Morgan Stanley in Atlanta. They had several offices there. I was actually in the, I won't get into which branch I was in, but I was there, okay? Well, even back then, this was in 2001-ish, okay? Even back then, they had TVs on your desktop in their offices, and they had these TVs. It was literally a screen on your desktop. It was before its time. But CNBC would be on every single screen in that place. CNBC was the go-to news source. But now, maybe I'm just older and wiser, but I will now tell my son, my son's asking me about investing in different things like this now, and I will tell him now, these people don't tell the truth. They literally suppress the truth from the public, and it is sick. It is sickening. to watch these people, because somebody has to come in and tell them you can't talk about that. Now, that's not the United States of America I want for my children. I don't know about you, but that we live in a sick world now, folks, because we are surrounded by lies. And speaking of that, folks, Gary Gensler was on Yahoo Finance, and we had yet another journalist who has Gary on and doesn't ask him any questions and just lobs softballs at him. And so I decided that I would pick it apart. This is Gary talking about how he's got a problem with all these lending platforms. Well, what I did is I took what he was saying about lending and how you got to come talk to Gary. This is a security, and I inserted several different people from ETHgate talking about how Ethereum, the lending in Ethereum is going on. Gary's not doing a thing about that. Watch. And I also copied every single congressman from the Finance Committee who's going to be having hearings to do SEC oversight, I think, next week. Watch this.
Just think of it this way. You've got a bunch of platforms, crypto lending platforms.
A bunch of people are building lending platforms on Ethereum, and right now it's going to start.
Just so you know, that's Chris Dixon from Andreessen Horowitz. And yes, that is the same Andreessen Horowitz who led the venture capital working group, which ended, and whose attorney Lowell Ness wrote the safe harbor memo, which became the Ethereum free pass speech by Bill Hinman.
It's totally crypto. So you're going to lend it. You're going to be able to lend like your ether to the smart contract. The smart contract will in turn lend it out to other people, right? And it's weird. It's crypto, and people will say, oh, but it's only for Ethereum, and that's not for mainstream people. But then look, you add in the stable coins, and I think stable coins will be working, and you'll have some scaled out working stable coins in a couple of years
that had been offering anywhere from 4% yields to 20% yields in an interest rate environment that was generally for short-term deposits less than 1%.
It's pretty rich and diversified series of things that you guys are doing there. Lending, staking, swap transactions, and then prop investing in a kind of de facto VC.
The guy that's about to be talking here is Andrew Keys, who was with Consensus, and now he's gone off to run an Ethereum lending platform.
I think the thing that may have struck most people is the scale of your staking book. I believe you said over 1,000 validators, 1.5 billion US notional.
10,000. So 10,000 validators at 32 Ether per validator before the staking rewards. So, yeah.
I mean, this makes you one of the largest staking books in the world.
Yes.
You've got to sort of think, if you're an investor, if it's too good to be true, maybe it is. And how is it that would be possible?
The fascinating stuff is this permissionless ecosystem that's developing largely on Ethereum. We have lending, borrowing systems, we have money market systems, we have payment systems, we have price stable token systems.
And so a lot of risk may well be embedded in that. And we have securities laws. As you said, we have banking laws, but under the securities laws, if you're pooling a bunch of people's assets, we usually call that an investment company. And
the Ether token, we talked about ultrasound money. The Ether token is giving off yield, and it is deflationary. So it's being burned in transactions, it's being frozen, staked in the protocol, staked in DeFi and DAOs and other systems.
Some of these lending platforms had 500,000 or 2 million or even more members of the public, investors pulling their assets together, and these platforms offering, as I say, 4, 7, 8, 10, or even 20% returns.
We're building staking as a service, essentially in collaboration with the Ethereum Foundation. And interestingly, it looks like it's going to be a big business. We're building infrastructure for it, for people, but staking as a service in a more generalized format is something that a lot of organizations, institutions are interested in. So we're having commercial discussions with them.
Sort of too good to be true type of returns.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. Now, and then there's another clip here from Gary's interview I wanted to show to you, and I wanted to make a point. You know, Ronald Reagan said that America was a shining city on a hill. Well, I think Gary and his friends are turning that into don't shine your light or we'll come up there and put it out for you, because they don't want anybody else in the club. You remember, I think it was George Carlin, the comedian, that says it's a club and you ain't in it. Well, I think Gary's job is to keep everybody else out of the club and make sure he's a gatekeeper for the JP Morgans and the Goldman Sachs. And so this is how Gary, and I've made this point before. Now you think about it, if I'm the SEC chairman of the United States of America, okay? United States of America, this is a place where we are supposed to want innovation and to be and to have entrepreneurship. And I mean, that's how I grew up. That's what my father was. I was always thinking that way. We're supposed to be inspired by our leaders. Think about this for a minute. Since Gary Gensler came in as SEC chairman, there's a way to say this. There's a lot of ways to say this. What we've gotten from Gary Gensler is, now look, if you're doing this, you're gonna have to come in and see us, and if you don't, that's where Gary's been coming from. Imagine why do we not have an SEC chairman who is saying, listen, we love what's going on in crypto. We love what this means for the United States of America and all of the innovation that can happen in this country. We love what we're seeing here. And so whatever we do, we are going to go out of our way to help everyone in this space. Why are we not getting that? Because it is a complete difference. And there's a specific reason you're not getting that. And that is because Gary Gensler is there to protect the club and you ain't in it. And that is his job. That's what he's for. We do not need these kind of people. I am sick of these kind of people in our government. These people are nothing but a bunch of toady bureaucrats that are sent there to further their career and to play insider games because you and I aren't in the club. And I think Americans have had enough of people like this. It is sickening what's happening to this. When I leave this world, I want to be able to tell my kids that they should be inspired and feel really positive and good about where their country is going. And they can't right now because of people like this. They can't. Well, Eleanor Terrett, our latest missive on the SEC versus Ripple saga. And Stefan Huber points out the best part of the article, which is an SEC spokesman had no comment. Ripple had no comment. Bill Hinman did not return requests for comment. He was commenting a little bit when this thing started, but not anymore. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that you know what I want? I want the shining city on a hill. And America can be that, but we can't do it with all of these people who are trying to scare the American people about their regulatory hammer instead of inspire them and be optimistic for the future of this country. These people are sick. They need to go.